I'm Ahmed, 34 years old. On October 31st, 2025, I died for 12 minutes after a massive heart attack outside my mosque in Tampa, Florida. What Jesus Christ revealed to me about today's weather will shake you to your core. My name carries the weight of my heritage, strict Muslim upbringing, devout family traditions spanning generations. My father served as imam for 15 years at our local mosque. I never missed the five daily prayers since childhood, memorized half the Quran by age 16. The last thing I ever expected was meeting Jesus Christ face to face. But on Halloween night, clutching my chest in that mosque parking lot, everything I thought I knew about God, about faith, about eternity, it all shattered in an instant. The call to Maghrib prayer echoed through the evening air as I walked across the mosque parking lot. It was October 31st, 2025, around 6:15 p.m. The familiar sound should have brought me peace, but instead, a crushing weight suddenly pressed against my chest. The pain was unlike anything I had ever experienced, radiating down my left arm like molten fire coursing through my veins. I collapsed onto the asphalt, my prayer rug falling beside me. Above me, the Florida sky was painted in deep oranges and purples, but my vision began to blur. I could hear my own voice calling out to Allah, begging for mercy for more time. My heart felt like it was being squeezed by an invisible fist, each beat more labored than the last. Then something extraordinary happened. I felt myself lifting, separating from my physical body like vapor rising from hot pavement. I watched from above as my own form lay motionless on the ground. Brother Mahmoud rushed out from the mosque, his face twisted with panic as he knelt beside me. I could see him pressing his hands against my chest, his lips moving in desperate prayers. The paramedics arrived within minutes, their red and blue lights painting the mosque walls in alternating colors. I observed them working frantically on what I now understood was just my earthly shell. They attached wires to my chest, injected something into my arm, pressed paddle against my ribs, but I felt no pain, no fear. Instead, an overwhelming sense of weightlessness and peace enveloped me. Time moved differently in this state. Minutes felt like hours, yet hours compressed into heartbeats. I existed in a space between spaces, neither fully in the physical world nor completely removed from it. The sounds of the ambulance sirens and frantic voices became distant echoes, replaced by a profound silence that somehow contained all the music of creation. Then I sensed a presence approaching, not approaching physically, but drawing near to my very essence. It was a presence of pure love, more intense than anything I had ever encountered. The love radiated warmth that penetrated every part of my being, dissolving every fear, every doubt, every burden I had carried throughout my 34 years of life. A figure began to materialize before me, and my entire understanding of reality shifted. This was not Allah as I had imagined him. This was a man, but unlike any man I had ever seen. His eyes held depths of compassion that seemed to contain the suffering and joy of every human soul that had ever lived. His hands bore unmistakable scars, and his feet showed the marks of ancient wounds. Ahmed, he spoke, and his voice was like gentle thunder, like the sound of many waters, yet intimate as a whisper meant only for me. You have been searching for me your entire life. My spirit trembled as recognition flooded through me. This was Jesus Christ, the one my Islamic faith had taught me to revere as a prophet, but never as the Son of God. Yet standing before him now, I knew without question that he was everything the Christians claimed and more. You are not Allah, I managed to say, my consciousness struggling to process this revelation. His smile was infinite tenderness. I am who your heart has always longed for, Ahmed. Your prayers have reached me, even when directed elsewhere. Jesus extended his scarred hand toward me. And the moment our spirits touched, everything around us transformed. Come, Ahmed, I have something urgent to show you about your world. Suddenly, we were soaring above the earth, moving at impossible speeds yet with perfect clarity. Below us stretched the brilliant blue waters of the Caribbean Sea, but something massive and terrifying dominated the view. A hurricane unlike anything I had ever witnessed was churning with supernatural fury. Its eye wall so perfectly formed it looked like a divine fingerprint pressed into the ocean's surface. This is Hurricane Melissa, Jesus said, his voice carrying both authority and deep concern. The fourth most powerful Atlantic hurricane in recorded history. As we hovered above this monstrous storm, I could see details that no human eye should be able to perceive. The hurricane's structure was breathtakingly organized yet utterly destructive. Jesus began revealing information that flooded my consciousness with technical precision I had never possessed. Look at the pressure reading, Ahmed, 892 millibars. This measurement will be confirmed by your meteorologists, and it places Melissa among the most intense storms ever recorded in the Atlantic basin. I watched in awe and terror as the hurricane's eye wall revealed winds of unimaginable power. Jesus continued, maximum sustained winds of 185 miles per hour upon landfall in Jamaica. This ties the record with the 1935 Labor Day hurricane for the strongest hurricane to ever make landfall in Atlantic history. The spiritual realm allowed me to witness the storm's impact in real time. I saw the devastation across southwestern Jamaica near the Black River area, homes reduced to splinters, lives forever changed in moments. The raw power was beyond human comprehension, yet Jesus spoke of it with the familiarity of one who commands the very elements. What you are witnessing, Ahmed, possesses another unprecedented characteristic. This hurricane has the driest eye in terms of water vapor ever recorded globally, not just in the Atlantic but across the entire world. We moved closer to observe the storm's intricate structure. The eye wall was so well defined, so perfectly circular, that it seemed more like an engineered marvel than a natural phenomenon. Jesus showed me how the storm had reformed its eye after passing over land, a testament to its extraordinary intensity. This hurricane will make 4 landfalls in just 48 hours, Jesus explained as we tracked its projected path. Jamaica, where it has already struck with full force, Cuba, where it is currently causing catastrophic impacts, then the Bahamas as a Category 2 storm, and finally it will closely approach Bermuda. I could see the storm's future movement as if watching a divine weather map unfold. Hurricane Melissa would race northeastward at speeds of 20 to 30 miles per hour once it transformed into an extratropical system, a dramatic change from its current slow, devastating crawl across the Caribbean islands. Pay attention to the patterns, Ahmed, Jesus said, his tone becoming more serious. This storm represents the shaking that is coming to Earth. The physical weather and spiritual awakening are connected in ways your world does not yet understand. As we observed Hurricane Melissa's unprecedented power, I realized this was not merely a weather lesson. This was preparation for something far greater that Jesus was about to reveal about my home region. Jesus guided our spiritual vantage point northward, away from Hurricane Melissa's devastating path, until we hovered high above the North American continent. The view was breathtaking yet ominous. I could see massive weather systems forming and moving like pieces on a divine chessboard. Now observe what follows immediately after Melissa, Jesus said, his voice carrying the weight of prophetic authority. Ahmed, your region is about to experience the coldest weather it has seen in over 6 months. Before us, I witnessed an enormous mass of Arctic air descending from Canada like a frozen tsunami. The atmospheric rivers were visible from our heavenly perspective, carrying bitter cold southward with relentless determination. Jesus began explaining the meteorological mechanics with precision that astounded me. The jet stream pattern is creating a deep trough over the Great Plains, he said, pointing to invisible currents that somehow became visible to my spiritual eyes. This configuration will allow Canadian air masses to plunge far deeper into the southern United States than is typical for early November. I watched as temperatures across vast regions began their dramatic descent. Jesus showed me temperature readings dropping across multiple states simultaneously, a coordinated atmospheric assault that defied normal weather patterns. Temperatures will drop 20 to 30 degrees across the central and southern plains within a 24-hour period, Jesus revealed. Areas of Texas that rarely see such cold will experience near freezing temperatures. The Gulf Coast states will plummet into the 40s and 50s overnight, shocking residents who are still thinking of autumn warmth. The vision became more specific as Jesus directed my attention to Florida, my home state. Your Florida will require winter jackets, Ahmed. High temperatures will struggle to reach the 60s and 70s, while overnight lows along the coastline will drop into the low to midways. For people accustomed to subtropical warmth, this will feel like Arctic condition. Jesus then revealed the precise timing that would validate this supernatural revelation. This occurs on November 3rd, 2025. Remember this date exactly, Ahmed. When this unfolds precisely as I am showing you, choice hearts will be prepared to receive the greater truth I am revealing through your experience. He showed me the atmospheric mechanics in detail. A low pressure system would position itself over Tennessee and Mississippi, creating a pathway for sustained northerly winds. These winds would transport reinforcing waves of Canadian air masses southward for multiple days, ensuring the cold pattern would persist rather than quickly moderate. The morning of November 3rd, your fellow Floridians will wake to temperatures in the low to mid 40s along the coastline, Jesus continued. Frost warnings will extend into central Texas. Areas that have not seen such cold since last spring will suddenly need heating systems activated. Jesus paused, his eyes meeting mine with intensity that penetrated my very soul. Ahmed, ask yourself this question. How will you know this vision is true? You possess no meteorological training, no access to weather prediction models, no scientific instruments. Yet I am revealing to you specific temperature ranges, pressure system locations, and precise timing that will unfold exactly as shown. The impossibility of naturally knowing such detailed forecast information overwhelmed me. No human could predict such specific meteorological details days in advance with perfect accuracy, especially someone like me with no weather expertise whatsoever. Jesus expanded the vision to show me weather patterns extending beyond November 3rd, revealing a complex atmospheric dance that would unfold across the following week. The spiritual realm allowed me to see meteorological systems like a divine weather map painted across the continent. Temperatures will remain 5 to 15 degrees below average through Saturday, Jesus explained, his voice carrying the authority of one who commands the very elements. Below freezing conditions will stretch from central Texas all the way to New England, creating one of the most widespread early season cold snaps in recent memory. I watched as high pressure systems built from the southeast through the northern plains, creating a temporary stabilization of the weather pattern. But Jesus showed me this was merely a brief intermission before greater changes would approach. By midweek, there will be temporary quieting of the storms, he continued, Obham. But this pause should not deceive anyone into thinking the season of change has ended. Greater atmospheric upheavals approach as winter establishes its dominance earlier than expected. Jesus then shifted the vision to reveal the deeper spiritual significance behind these unprecedented weather patterns. His voice became more intense, filled with urgency that made my spirit tremble. These are birth pangs, Ahmed, signs of my return that creation itself is announcing through increased extremes. He gestured toward the swirling atmospheric patterns below us, record-breaking storms and unprecedented cold occurring within the same week. This is not coincidence. This is divine orchestration designed to awaken sleeping hearts. The connection between the physical and spiritual realms became crystal clear as Jesus continued his revelation. Your world has grown deaf to my voice through traditional means, but when Hurricane Melissa shatters records and then immediate cold breaks more records, attention will be captured. When impossible weather predictions come true through a former Muslim man, barriers will crumble. Jesus directed my attention to the broader prophetic implications of what I was witnessing. Creation itself groans for redemption. Ahmed, the increasing frequency of extreme weather events, the breaking of long-standing meteorological records, the unusual timing of seasonal changes, these are not merely random climate variations. They are purposeful signs pointing toward my imminent return. The weight of responsibility settled on my spirit as Jesus explained my specific mission. Use this validation of weather prophecy to reach Muslim hearts that have been closed to Christian testimony. When they see these predictions fulfilled perfectly, down to specific temperature readings and exact timing, doors will open that human persuasion could never unlock. Jesus spoke directly through me to the future audience who would hear this testimony. Look inside your own heart right now. Ask yourself whether you recognize these signs occurring around you. The same God who reveals future weather patterns with perfect accuracy is calling your name at this very moment. The urgency in his voice intensified. Time grows short. Don't wait for your own near-death experience to believe what is being revealed through Ahmed's encounter. Many seek signs before they will accept truth. I am providing undeniable proof through detailed weather prophecy that no human could fabricate. As the vision continued, I understood that this supernatural weather revelation was not merely about meteorological accuracy. It was about preparing hearts for eternal decisions while time remained. After revealing the weather prophecies with such precise detail, Jesus turned his full attention toward me. The love in his eyes was so intense that it felt like standing in the warmth of 1,000 suns, yet without any burning sensation. Every cell of my spiritual being was saturated with peace beyond human comprehension. Ahmed, he said gently, now you must make the most important decision of your existence. You can stay here with me in perfect peace, or return to earth with this message that will cost you everything you have known. The choice he presented seemed impossible. To remain in his presence meant eternal bliss, complete understanding, perfect love without end. No more struggle, no more pain, no more uncertainty about faith or purpose, just infinite communion with the creator of the universe who had revealed himself as my personal savior. But Jesus continued, his voice filled with compassion for the mission he was asking me to accept. Your family needs this truth, Ahmed. Your Muslim community awaits revelation that can only come through someone who has walked their path. Many will reject you, but some will recognize the authenticity of supernatural knowledge that no human could possess. I understood immediately the cost of returning to earth. My father would disown me for abandoning Islam. My mother would weep, thinking her son had lost his mind. The mosque community that had embraced me since childhood would turn their backs in horror. I would lose my job at the Muslim community center, my friends, my identity as I had known it. Will you carry my words back to earth? Jesus asked, though he already knew my answer. Will you use November 3rd as validation that opens hearts to eternal truth? Will you convert completely, holding nothing back from your former faith? The weight of responsibility settled on my spirit like a divine commission. Jesus gave me specific instructions about sharing the weather prophecy with the precision. Let none deny the accuracy of these predictions. When temperatures drop exactly as revealed, when Hurricane Melissa follows the precise path shown, when every meteorological detail proves supernatural in its accuracy, use this validation to point hearts toward salvation. I knew that accepting this mission meant becoming a bridge between communities that had been separated by centuries of misunderstanding. Convert your heart fully, Jesus emphasized. Hold nothing back from your old faith. Embrace Christianity completely, publicly, courageously. Your transformation will authenticate the message more than any argument could. As I wrestled with this impossible decision, Jesus waited with infinite patience. The choice was genuinely mine to make. He would not force my return or manipulate my decision through guilt or pressure, but the urgency of reaching others with this revelation burned in my spirit. I will go back, I finally said, my voice breaking with the magnitude of what I was accepting. I will carry your message, no matter the cost. The moment I spoke these words, everything changed violently. Without warning, I was yanked from that place of perfect peace and love, hurled through dimensions at terrifying speed. The sensation was like being ripped from heaven and slammed back into a body that felt foreign and restrictive. I gasped awake on the ambulance stretcher, my chest heaving as paramedics stared in shock. We lost you completely, one of them stammered. No pulse, no brain activity for 12 minutes. My first words upon returning to life sent shockwaves through everyone present. Jesus is real, and massive weather changes are coming to Florida in 3 days. The paramedic who had been checking my vitals stepped backward, his face pale with confusion. My father, who had arrived at the hospital, stared at me as if I had become a stranger. Ahmed, you are confused from the oxygen loss, my father said, his voice trembling with barely controlled panic. You are speaking nonsense about the Christian prophet. You need rest, and then you will remember your faith properly. But the clarity of my encounter with Jesus remained absolutely perfect. Every detail of the weather prophecy, every word he had spoken, every moment of that divine revelation was etched into my consciousness with supernatural precision. Within 24 hours, I had abandoned every Islamic practice that had defined my entire existence. The conversion crisis tore my family apart immediately. My father declared me dead to the family, refusing to speak my name or acknowledge my presence. My mother wept for days, convinced that brain damage from the heart attack had destroyed her son's mind. I lost my position at the Muslim Community Center within a week, along with friendships I had cultivated since childhood. On November, from just 3 days after my death experience, I was baptized at a local Christian church. Pastor Michael, who had been ministering to me since I shared my testimony, watched with tears in his eyes as I was fully immersed in water, symbolically dying to my old Islamic identity and rising as a follower of Jesus Christ. November 3rd arrived with perfect meteorological precision that validated every supernatural detail Jesus had revealed. Hurricane Melissa followed the exact path shown in my vision, with meteorologists confirming the 892 millibar pressure reading that had been revealed to me from the spiritual realm. The record-breaking cold front struck precisely as prophesied, with Texas experiencing near-freezing temperatures that shocked residents unaccustomed to such early-season cold. That morning, Florida coastline temperatures dropped into the low 40s, exactly as Jesus had shown me. Weather forecasters scrambled to explain the unprecedented cold snap that brought frost warnings to areas that had not seen such conditions since the previous spring. Every geographic location, every temperature range, every timing detail matched the supernatural revelation with impossible accuracy. So I'm asking you, just as someone who has been beyond the veil of death and returned with divine knowledge, how could someone with no meteorological training predict such specific details? How could I have known Hurricane Melissa's exact pressure readings, wind speeds, and landfall locations? How could I have foreseen temperature drops across multiple states with precision that rivaled advanced weather models? 6 months later, my life bears no resemblance to my former existence as a strict Muslim. The peace that surpasses all understanding has replaced the religious fear that once dominated my daily prayers. I have found a new spiritual family that embraces me despite my Islamic background, and I carry a sense of divine purpose that grows stronger each day. Ask yourself this question as you hear my testimony. What will it take for you to believe? Many people demand signs before they will consider faith, but when supernatural validation appears before your eyes, will you recognize divine intervention? The same Jesus who revealed future weather patterns with perfect accuracy is calling your name at this very moment. Look inside your own heart right now. Will you answer his call before your own final breath, or will you let pride and tradition keep you from eternal truth?